What's up, everybody? Hit the like button, the subscribe, leave a comment whether or not you agree or disagree. We're going to be talking a little bit about the book of Revelation because I believe that you can understand the simple teachings found in the book of Revelation. It's complex in its wording, but the principles that are found in the book are based on Daniel chapter 7. And if you can understand Daniel chapter 7, then you can understand the book of Revelation. Now, Daniel chapter 7 compared to the book of Revelation, you could say is a stick man drawing. You know, the stick man figure where you have the head, the body is just one line, and the arms and legs are one line. And so when we read the book of Revelation, it's an enhanced portrait of that stick man drawing. It's describing the same thing, but there's a lot more details, a lot more descriptions. In Daniel chapter 7, what we read about is this judgment of Rome during the reign of one of their Roman emperors. And it calls that Roman emperor the 11th king. And it says 3 were uprooted. And what that does is give special significance from the number 11 to the number 8, because 11 minus 3 is 8. And when you read the book of Revelation, you're reading about the same thing found in Daniel chapter 7, but it's talking about the 8th king. So the 11th king of Daniel 7 is the 8th king of the book of Revelation. And once you can understand that, you're going to open up doors of understanding in your mind that you didn't even know were available for you to access. And in Daniel chapter 7, you read about a judgment of Rome where it says the throne was set, the books were opened, but it's not even about the final destruction of Rome. It's about this judgment that would occur upon Rome during the reign of their 11th king. Rome in total had 87 emperors. And in Daniel 7, you can't get around it. You're reading about the judgment of Rome during the reign of their 11th king, yet Rome had 87 emperors. So what is it really talking about? It's talking about Rome's final opportunity to destroy the kingdom of Christ, to destroy the people of God. The devil failed in getting Rome to destroy the Messiah at his birth. That's what Revelation 12 talks about. And so what the devil did, you read the end of the chapter of Revelation chapter 12, once Jesus ascended into heaven, the devil realized that through Rome, he failed to stop the king from entering into his kingdom. So then he turned his attention upon the people of the kingdom to fight against those who keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. And so Daniel chapter 7, we read about this judgment that would occur upon Rome where the books were opened and they were pictured as being condemned because of how they treated God's people. And same thing in the book of Revelation, we read about that same judgment. And what we learn in Daniel chapter 7 is it pictures Christ, the Messiah, coming with the clouds of heaven, not for the purpose of receiving all authority, but for the purpose of receiving the authority that Rome had lost. And it's a picture of a transfer of the authority of Rome given to the Messiah. Now, in reality, we understand that Daniel chapter 7, talking about the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven, is not about his ascension into heaven. That's when Jesus really received all authority. But Daniel chapter 7 pictures the Messiah receiving the authority that Rome lost. Well, in reality, the Messiah had authority before that event, but it was a picture given to the Jews that their Messiah would rule the nations with the same authority that Rome was ruling the nations with. And so the Jews had a physical understanding of that kingdom. Rome was a physical kingdom. They thought they were going to have a physical kingdom just as Rome to rule the nations, but Christ, the Messiah, came and taught that his kingdom, his universal kingdom, is a spiritual kingdom, one that rules within you. And so the book of Revelation says in the first chapter and the last chapter, so that way the reader will not forget that those events were shortly coming to pass. And it even uses language, messianic language, for the blessings given to those saints that would overcome that Roman emperor. And for example, in Revelation chapter 2 or 3, we learn that one of the blessings given to those who overcome is the authority to rule over the nations. Now, in heaven, the saints aren't going to be ruling over the nations, right? It is a messianic promise that was given to the Messiah that is pictured as being given to these saints who would overcome that Roman emperor. And Daniel 7, the book of Revelation, they go hand in hand. The book of Revelation talks about the beast. Revelation chapter 17 verses 10 and 11 says that that beast was the 8th king. Now, in that list of kings, they were already on the 6th king. Revelation chapter 17 verses 10 and 11 says 5 out of those 8 kings were already fallen. They were dead. They were on the 6th king, which historically is proven to be Vespasian. It said the 7th king would come, he would rule a short space, and then the 8th king, the beast, would come into power. And so how far away was the 8th king from the 1st century generation? Well, he was only a short space away because they were already on the 6th king. The 7th king would only rule a short space, and then the 8th king would come into power. And it's such a blessing to be understanding, to be mindful of the simple principles found throughout the book, to not get lost in all of the symbolic, figurative terminology that is building upon the message found in Daniel chapter 7. It's such a blessing. You can understand it. I understand it. And it's not that difficult. And anyone who has a different viewpoint concerning the book of Revelation ignores the time statements found in the first and the last chapter. They ignore that it's based on Daniel chapter 7. They ignore that the 8th king in the book of Revelation is the same king as the 11th king in the book of Daniel, right? Because Daniel said there were 11 kings, 3 were uprooted. So that gives special significance from the number 11 to the number 8. And if you read Daniel 7, the 11th king did the same exact things that we read about the 8th king in the book of Revelation doing. That's because the 11th king is the 8th king. And it's just such a blessing to be able to understand these things. A lot of people are going to probably think this stuff goes against their typical ideology of what they've been taught, but I'm just asking you to examine it. Examine Daniel chapter 7, and you'll find a judgment against Rome during the reign of their 11th king. Rome had 87 emperors, so it's not a final judgment, and it's not even about a judgment of Rome past the 12th king, right? What we're reading about is a persecution that Rome led against the saints, but they would fail, and Christ's kingdom would continue. What a blessing it is. God bless you. Thank you for your time. Have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I'd love to answer any questions that you might have to the best of my abilities and give you an answer that satisfies the questions, the cravings, the desires for the answers that you are searching for. Thank you. God bless you. Have a nice day.